Let's get some analysis now with Mahjoub Zouairi, who's a professor of contemporary Middle East politics at Qatar University. He joins us now from Doha. Really good to have you back with us, Professor. It's now official, the long-awaited ceasefire that was brokered by officials from Doha, Cairo and the United States is now in effect after an almost 3-hour-long delay. What's your reaction to this, the fact that this first phase of the truce is now in effect?
I think it was clear that Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to play games just to send a message to his base. Everyone knows that this deal announced the starting point will be 8:30 local time, and the Palestinians were committed of that. And the delay of the name submission was because Israel did not commit to basically keep the sky of Gaza quiet so they can basically collect the data about the names. Anyway, with delay of 2 hours, 45 minutes, I think Palestinians lost around 20 people, but the main thing to them is basically the ceasefire, and the ceasefire now is on a place, and there will be more steps be taken today to implement. There is no doubt that, as everyone knows now, that this deal was on the table since May 2024, and Netanyahu basically was the only person who was rejecting that. He was pushing the war until Trump comes. He was, I think, surprisingly found Trump is a tough guy. And I think Trump came with two main objectives. One, ending the war before 20th of January. And the second one, he's differentiating between supporting Israel and supporting Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu presenting himself as the leader of Israel, and every support should go through him. It is very clear to me, Oscar, that the Americans, whether Biden, he tried to do his best, so he basically weakened Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden failed, but I think Trump will do it. He wants Benjamin Netanyahu to be out of the government and having more flexible, rational government in Israel, so he can implement what he called it, the expansion of Abraham deals.
And of course, Professor, a major part of the first phase of this deal is that some 600 trucks of humanitarian aid should be allowed into the enclave. We've already heard from our correspondent on the ground in Gaza that a number of trucks have entered Gaza, but that's separate to the 600 that are supposed to enter on a daily basis for the next 6 weeks. How hopeful are you that the Israelis will live up to their end of the deal in that sense and allow these hundreds of trucks into Gaza on a daily basis?
The humanitarian aid and this deal has been considered as a part of index to the deal itself. So to avoid any kind of abusing to the implementation, the mediators, they decided to have this kind of a document attached to the main deal where Israel should implement exactly as they implement other terms. So basically, the expectation is to have 600 trucks every day, and especially focusing on northern Gaza. And this should continue. Of course, there is expectation Netanyahu will play games as expected about what is coming in, what is coming out, and some delays. But I think this time there is a logistic office which is based in Cairo, and the main mission to this office, which is basically Qataris, Egyptian, and the Americans, the main mission is to push both parties to commit to the deal. And I think this kind of commitment will push Israelis to be more committed to the deal and allow more humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. I think more important is actually what we saw in Gaza this morning. I mean, we saw a clear presence from what's remaining of the government in Gaza. That was a clear message to the Israelis that they have failed to destroy the governance of Gaza. And we saw the police in the street. We saw all offices. They have a statement that they are back to normal and they will present their services to the people. These are an indicator will help to spread the humanitarian aid, to provide security to the trucks, to make sure that every one of Gazan people have received their own needs. And that would be a good message to the people that things are moving in the right direction.
Professor, according to the Israeli Prime Minister's office, those 3 female hostages will be released at 14 GMT. That's in a few hours' time, and that's to be followed with the release of 4 other hostages in the next 7 days. And under this 3-phased ceasefire deal, all of the remaining hostages will be released after the second phase of the agreement. But there are growing concerns that perhaps when all those hostages are released, that Israel will simply resume its attacks on Gaza. Do you share any of those concerns?
Well, Oscar, let's just bring to the viewers some numbers. The 3 females who will be released today, they will be, for each one of them, 30 of the Palestinians who have long time in prison. So basically, we expect 90 Palestinians to be released just for the 3 females. We expected by the end of the 42 days, 1,762 Palestinians to be released by the end of the 6 weeks of the deal. So there will be, there will be concern, of course, about the implementation. I'm just give you example. The announcement that the 3 females will be released today at 2 GMT, but this is not real for 2 reasons. One, bringing those people from different places will take time, and the logistic and security issue will delay. From previous experiences, we noticed that to free hostages, it took sometimes 7-8 hours. Sometimes it starts 4 p.m. local time, finished at midnight. So I think the starting point is 2, but I'm not sure the things will go quickly as expected. And this will rely on 2 main elements. One, how much Israelis is sincere to free the sky of Gaza of their drone and their spies activity on Gaza, because the Hamas have a real concern on that, and they want to make sure that they are safe, their people are safe. And the second one is basically how much the roads are open, how does they can get to the point where they meet the Red Cross, so they can basically handle the Israeli females. So there are some logistic issues on the ground, but at the end of the day, the starting point is important. It will take time, but I think after the first, I would say after the first activity today, we expect to be more organized and maybe faster.
Professor, can I ask you about the political fallout in Israel from this ceasefire deal? We already have the far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir quitting his cabinet and pulling his party out of Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right coalition. We know he's also urging the Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, another extremist politician, to follow suit, which would, I guess, weaken Netanyahu's coalition. Describe to us the impact that this is having on Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership and indeed his far-right government.
I believe strongly, personally, that Netanyahu will lose his leadership after the end of this deal, this war. Basically, regardless what's happening with the right wing, whether Ben-Gvir talks about pros in his membership, by the way, even if he said he himself and his, I would say, front, they basically submitted their resignation. However, they call it sort of frozen. They left sort of option open so they can come back. However, I believe personally, again, considering the fact that Trump does not like Netanyahu. He believes that he is lying and he's not a person who can work with. And considering the fact that he failed to deliver on all his objectives on this war on Gaza, considering the numbers of the lost, the image of Israel, which has been demolished, considering many elements, I think Benjamin Netanyahu will lose his seat as a prime minister. It may take some time towards end of 2025 or early 2026, but I think he will be losing his prime minister position, which will take him to the court directly. I think international community, including the United States, they need a domestic politics to be changed in Israel. They need different prime minister. They need different government, because they believe the current government has taken all of the European and the Americans to the direction they may lose, and they lost already their reputation, their image, and they want to save their image as much as as fast as possible. So my expectation, he will be one of the major losers of this war toward the end of this deal.
Okay, Professor Mahjoub Zweiri, we will have to leave it there, but it's always really good to get your analysis. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thanks.